Welcome to Circuit of the Americas, just outside of Austin, Texas, home of the U.S. Grand Prix, and this weekend hosting the Pirelli GT4 America Championships. And it is time for the 13th round of the Sprintx category for the GT4 cars. And great to have you with us. A look there at the iconic S's here at Circuit of the Americas. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Calvin Fish, Ryan Marine down trackside for us in the pit lane. And we are getting ready for this 13th round of the championship. This is the penultimate event of the championship. In 2 weeks' time, the series will wrap things up at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And as we take a look quickly at the field that has assembled down in the starting grid, we want to give you a look at this track, and we could think of no way better than to have one of the best behind the wheel of a Porsche. This one will be a GT3 machine from Wright Motorsports and a very rapid Jan Heylen.
My name is Jan Heylen. I'm here at Cota with Wright Motorsports in the Porsche GT3R, getting ready to start a lap, coming onto the front straightaway now, approaching the start-finish line. Fifth gear, reaching 150 mile an hour. Hard on the brakes at the 100 sign. Big brake zone, lots of opportunity to overtake. Down the hill into turn 2, 130 mile an hour. Really fun corner, really feeling the downforce here of these GT3 cars. And then into the famous S's here at Cota. Hard on the brakes, rolling a lot of speed. Fourth gear, down to third. Hard on the curbing, back to power. Setting up for turn 7, third gear, just a little lift, back to power. Turn 8, down to second gear, and then up the hill, turn 9. Lots of curbing on the inside and on the outside. Going down the hill, setting up for turn 11. Again, one of the better places to overtake. Very wide on the entry. Down the first gear, and then working on a good exit to get onto the back straightaway. Fastest, longest straightaway on the track here at Cota, reaching 160 mile an hour in sixth gear. Again, good opportunity to overtake. Going into turn 12, braking at the 120 sign. Down the first gear again, using up all the curbing on the exit. From first up to third, down to first gear again. Hard on the brakes. Very slow section of the track here. Up to third again, approaching the slowest corner of the track, the hairpin here, turn 15, and then setting up for the carousel. Double right-hander, lots of power on the way in, just a small lift and then back to power, 100 mile an hour at the center. Lining up for turn 19, lots of curbing there on the exit, lots of track limits being called. Make sure we keep two wheels on the curbing, and then down the first gear for turn 20, last corner coming onto the front straightaway. And that was a lap at Cota.
It's a hugely challenging track. The one thing that really catches my eye watching that lap is how much time that car is bouncing around over curves.
Yeah, you have to use that to get the lap time, but then you've got to control it. So it's all about the platform, the suspension set up to deal with that, and you just got to be disciplined, Greg. If you get too aggressive here, you're going to get out of sync, particularly through these high-speed S's, and you get a little bit behind in the rhythm through there, and ultimately it will cost you because it keeps tightening up. It's very demanding.
Couple of big developments here as you take a look at the field working its way through. At the back of the field, yesterday's winner in the number 51, that is Parker Chase and Roman DeAngelis, the Penos Esperante Avezano. They had a problem in that second qualifying session, never got a lap completed, and so they are starting absolute shotgun on the field right there. That should be spectacular to watch those two. That's a silver driver field working its way up through, and from the back of the pack there's a couple others back there as well. And for updates on what's unfolding, let's get down, meet the third member of our broadcast team, Ryan Marine. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. Let's start with that number 51 Panos that you were mentioning, and I checked with the team, and evidently the problem was a broken lower right front control arm, and that actually happened in the first qualifying session of the day. So the second session came right afterwards. There certainly wasn't time to make that change. That's why they have to start last. But Matt Keegan, who actually drives the other Panos, he was chatting with Roman DeAngelis and told him basically, don't worry about it, just have fun. Passing people is fun. You'll enjoy it. And they're not here to win a championship. This is actually the first weekend that car has been able to run. They were supposed to run at Road America, but didn't for reasons we can get into later. And with that in mind, they're just here to get results and enjoy the experience. So certainly fast. We saw that yesterday. They should put on a show for us. Another car to highlight is the KTM that starts just a little bit in front of them. They've been having a difficult weekend. Yesterday in the race, they had contact early on. That led to some damage that ultimately put them out of the race. But they've also been chasing a turbo problem throughout the course of the weekend. Mancilia Haug will start, Nikolai Elganian will take over. Evidently an overboost problem for them. They had a hardship lap yesterday in order to try and resolve that problem. It did not fix the problem, apparently. They got another hardship lap today. They think they've got it dialed in. We'll find out together as we get ready to go green.
All right, thanks very much. And you take a look, there's the number 33 as well, that red, white, and black Aston Martin that's just going out of frame, the Not Lad Racing by RS1 entry. Actually, Patrick Gallagher set the fastest time in qualifying, Cal, in that car, but it was found to be just a little bit under the official ride height. Rules being rules, it starts at the back. And so we've got some awfully quick guys that are going to be coming up from the pack. And as you keep in mind, the number 15 in the hands of Ken Cook, that car was showing some real speed yesterday. They too had a little bit of a technical issue.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one to see those two young drivers guiding their way through the tail end of the pack, DeAngelis and certainly Gallagher as well. But thinking about yesterday's result, Greg, there was a huge move in the silver category. Very tight coming into the championship round, just a 1 point gap between the Andretti Autosport pairing and the number 28 ST Racing Whitmer and Gottsager car. They were having a great run. They led early, Whitmer stayed out, and during that pit stop exchange, they were just under even the Joker time. That caused a drive-through penalty plus a hold, and they basically had a 17-point swing. They should have been coming into today's race with an 8-point lead. Now they are 9 points behind the Andretti Autosport duo of Andretti and Colin Mullen. So that was a big day, championship-wise. So the other factor is, as we talked about, guys here for the first time just going out for the big wins. You've got to factor that in with the other drivers out there who are looking at the big picture of a championship and the dynamic as it unfolds today.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, that pit execution is just everything, and anytime you've got to stop that has those minimum requirements. The other thing is that number 15, the Aston Martin, had an incident that kept them out of both qualifying runs, so that's why it starts near the back as well. Kent Cook said, well, he said, I've had basically 7/8 of a lap, and he's going to be starting this one, but he certainly is capable. Look right there at the number 7. That's a championship winning car.
Yeah, won the AM category by getting another win yesterday. 8 wins on the year for Zach Anderson and Sean Gibbons, so a brilliant season. And but they're just going to continue to roll and rack up the victories if they can. But then looking at the third class, Pro-Am,
yeah,
that's something special here today, because Dynan and Foley got another win yesterday. That gave them a 7-point lead in the championship over Jason Hart and Matt Travis. But Dynan had a personal commitment today. He's not competing today. So for Hart and Travis, this is a monster day for them. They have to try and take advantage of the Flying Lizard Motorsport, Aston Martin not being in this field.
They've got the opportunity starting 5th overall, 5th in class. Jason Hart doing the qualifying run. There's a look at Bill Oberlin, the number 82 Redline Oil Bimmer World entry that will start 2nd on the day-to-day. They were showing some pretty strong pace, and if that can keep alive, he has that car where you expect Bill Oberlin to have it, and turns it over to James Walker Jr. They've had overall wins this season as well, so these things are getting ready to go. But I'll tell you, Andrew Davis, he has shown to be so fast in the second half of those first races, and he is going to be a significant player here in the early going, starting from the overall pole. Lights out on the Acura NSX, the official safety vehicle of the Pirelli GT4 America Sprintx Championships. It makes its move into pit lane, and remember, green flag comes up at the original start, well down this front straight, not at the official timing and finish line, to give as much of the field an opportunity to get on. So underneath that gantry, watch for that flag to fly down there. 60 minutes of competition, 2 drivers, mandatory pit stop, and we're green. We are racing, and everybody fans out immediately. And Cal, 3, 4, 5 wide before we get to turn 1.
James there in the red Panos trying to make a move inside of Oberlin. He covers that, but a great start from our pole center, Andrew Davis. The rest of the field files through us pretty tight there at the back of the pack. Looks clean so far, though. Oh, and the crossbar over through the grass. That's Mancilia Haug.
Absolutely, and Leia Foge was going to try and make a move on James, but that was covered. You see a couple of cars absolutely skating through the chicanes here. So number 15 to Kent Cook. Man, did he get a launch. He and Gallagher have already made up a good 5-6 spots. Just a remarkable start.
Starting to settle down here a little bit.
Actually, Kent Cook only have made up 10 spots before we get to turn 11. That was an absolutely incredible launch. Here comes
Colin Mullen down to the inside of Michael Cooper there. Cooper takes it late on the brakes. Big fight there with Kent Cook through the apex of turn 11. There's Gallagher from the back of the pack, right in the mix early.
And Vesko Kozarov, they started farther back than they actually qualified. There was a penalty that was left over from Road America, a 10-spot grid penalty. And Vesko is on the prowl early as well. So it's going to be fun to watch battles here in virtually every part of this track with the fast guys qualifying up front and some equally fast people working their way through the pack. Look at Kent Cook attacking in that white Aston Martin with the gray hood on it.
He rolling some speed there through the turn 12 apex. Two McLarens go side by side once again. Michael Cooper in the bright blue flying lizard car. Look at that, that's tight there with Kozarov.
Kozarov squeezed down to the inside. He's refusing to give way. Cooper looking to do a little bit of intimidation, and Kozarov, that's his specialty. They're still side by side. What a sequence of corners. Michael Cooper and Vesko Kozarov.
Kozarov all up and over the curb there. Just keeps it together.
And look at Gallagher, takes advantage of that, Cal, pops down to the inside, and Kozarov tries the undercut.
Awesome racing here. And look in the backdrop there, Elio D'Angela's cutting some moves. He's made up about 6 positions on this first lap.
So here we go, coming by, and Andrew Davis has the lead over James, then Oberlin, who's getting attacked by Leia Fouge here.
Yeah, James has got around Oberlin on that first lap. Leia Fouge in the second of the BMWs, really on the attack on Bill Oberlin. Oberlin looks like he's struggling here to get the car up to speed here. Have the car set up for the longer run.
Jan Halen there as well, but Kenton Cook from back of the field, Cal, comes through 8th overall. 7th in Pro-Am. That was a mega start. Kozarov, 12th overall. And these guys up front absolutely dicing as well.
Talk about Jason Hart being glued to the bumper there at BMW. That was amazing. Look at that cutting through the grass there, almost in turn 8, but that is allowable. Jan Halen, who made that late race move yesterday on Jason Hart. Hart has to defend from it. Jan Halen, one of the more aggressive drivers in the field, looks to the inside, gives it up. Hart sweeps around the outside of Leia Fouge. Nice move there.
Really was. Runs a little bit wide, and Halen trying to go with him. Couldn't do it. Touched right back in behind Leia Fouge.
This little battle has allowed Bill Oberlin to scamper away a little bit, sitting in the 3rd spot.
Behind this group, there's that little gap, and then you see the BMW, the ST Racing entry. That is your leader in the silver class right now. That is the 28 of Harry Gottsacker, right there, just coming into view with Kenton Cook right behind him.
Mullen makes a move on deck, so he moves up the slot.
Halen got down underneath. Jason Hart makes that pass work.
That is not good news for the Motorsport entry. They don't want that sister Porsche team taking points away from them just to get back to the scenario coming in. Michael Dinan, Robbie Foley have the championship lead, but they are not competing here today. Oberlin in trouble. He has lost a bundle of time there through that sector. Does he have an issue as he having to hit pit lane, but really slowed up there. He had about 3 or 4 car length lead, and that is gone on this little chasing pack behind him.
Hey, you have to wonder what it is. Halen wants to make the move. He moves to the inside. Hart went right to the outside of Halen. Now it's going to cut back underneath. Let's watch for Oberlin here. Oh, a little touch. Loosened him up. He was already getting a bit crossed up, and then Leia Fouge just nudged him. Cost him some ground for sure.
This is getting scrappy here. Elbows are out big time. Jan Halen certainly not giving our championship contenders any love.
No, and Jason Hart obviously will be remembering that last corner pass yesterday. Ooh, Halen way out of sequence. Hangs on to it.
Wild ride. Look at Kenton Cook using all of the curbs there to try and make a move around the second of the ST Racing BMWs.
Yep, that's Harry Gottsacker. He wants to get by, get up and join this battle in front in class. Harry leads the silver class. Well, right now, everybody in front of Harry Gottsacker in that blue BMW. Those are all Pro-Am cars. Now Cook's got the inside line. It's just a matter of, can he make it stick on the exit here? He's cleared them, but this is where it's drag racing. Those BMWs are pretty stout in a straight line.
Yeah, and I think Kenton had to be really careful there with the two Porsches as they headed for the apex, that he suddenly didn't have it planted down on the inside. So smart driving there. That could have got rough.
And finally, that Kozarov-Cooper battle has relented a little bit, with Kozarov getting in front. That was about as intense as it gets.
Gottsacker here trying to put the pressure back on Jason Hart. That is not a position for class. Gottsacker can't afford to hang around, just 2 positions back overall as Colin Mullen. That is the battle for the Silver Championship. Coming in here, the Andretti duo have a 9-point lead with that big day yesterday where they finished second. Whitmer and Gottsacker down in P5 after the drive-through penalty, just underneath the minimum stop time, including the Joker. So is that going to be a critical moment in this season?
DeAngelis has worked his way up now to 14th overall, 3rd in yesterday's overall race, winning 51 Penos Esperante Avezzano. And the other guy, while Cooper and Kozarov were just beating each other up, Gallagher shot through and now sits in the 11th spot, 9th overall. Again, coming from the back of the field as well. It was a fraught opening few minutes, wasn't it?
It wasn't getting back to the 82-bit World Cup. Yeah. Bill Oberlin, you know, he's been shuffled down to 4th position, and they seem to run really hot and cold. They have races where they're just driving forward and gaining positions and getting victories. This looks like another one of those days where they're backing up a little bit.
Well, and I wonder, like you said, if maybe they'd set that car up to be a little bit better late in the going and just relying on Bill's skills, but he got that little bit of sideways. And, ooh, the big moment for DeAngelis.
Yeah, he just gets it wrong there through the S's and then hit that sleeping policeman, I think, and that turned him around. The little curbing there, the orange curbs, a little bit more abrupt.
A lot of runoff here, but yeah, watch it here, Cal. Yep.
Yeah, he just gets really wide. They can't get the car. I think the right rear suspension is broken.
Right.
Broke the suspension.
Correct.
And they had a suspension issue in qualifying, right?
Yeah, it was the right, but it was on the front. But again, you beat up your car on these curbs so much here, Cal.
I thought initially it was just that curb that turned him, and he's planted there. He might not be able to go if he's lost the rear axle there.
Well, that was the interesting thing, because when he went through that one apex and then suddenly he left a great big tire streak, but he wasn't sliding at that point.
Right.
And I think that was the indication that something broke on that car, certainly.
He had 4-wheel steering when he didn't need it.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Mads and see how Mads is a talented driver, factory driver for Ryder Engineering that builds these GT4 crossbows.
They were a team coming in here that had massive momentum. I think they're 20 points behind coming into yesterday's race, but won 3 of the last 5 rounds. It could have been so much more. Remember the technical issues that they had during the course of the last few racing weekends. But the car is just not as well suited here in terms of lap times. You can see it's pretty effective as he's running, you know, in a good place, but just not as quick as we expected, and not able to make the move in the championship standings accordingly.
Yeah, they had some very early contact in yesterday's race that resulted in more contact later when some of the bodywork got caught under the rear tire. They slid into the number 19. And Leia Fuge is wheeling right now, but his co-driver Quinlan was behind the wheel at that point. Costa had a big moment for Quinlan as well. There's a look at Vesco Kozarov and then Burton Lumber, Reardon Racing Aston Martin. We were in Road America in one of the races we were watching. Like, well, keep an eye on this. As Ken Cook was just attacking on Jason Hart.
This is pretty 6th position in class. So what could be a big day is not that big right now in terms of the championship points gained.
And for Kenton, they charged through the field. That was just staggering. And again, after having had 7, he never completed a full lap. So it was 7/8 of a lap in that car here. This is back on again, Cooper and Kozarov. Cooper got back around Vesco at some point.
He's leaning on him there.
Yeah.
This could get ugly.
And what I was about to say was the number 7 is Zach Anderson, who rode America at one point. He was up there attacking some of the Pro-Am cars, and we kept thinking he got a big picture it a little bit here. Let's watch this.
Vesco makes the move, and then as he turns in, Michael tries to go with him and just touches him there as he rolls speed through apex. Watch that right there. Just gets Vesco sideways, and Anderson able to take advantage, but he's still trying to complete the move.
Well, Anderson's got to be a little, there's another touch. Anderson's got to be a little careful. I mean, he'd love to clear these guys, but you get caught up in these two guys battling each other. Look at the move by Siljahaug.
He tries to plug that gap. I think Michael's up to the task, though. He now has the line for the next corner, turn 16. It's a tasty little battle. We saw everyone get up on the wheel yesterday, and it got a little bit too feisty at times with people trading paint, but this is an amazing race we're looking at right here.
Siljahaug working the outside through 16, 17, and 18. And Cooper just enough pace to be able to fend him off.
Vesco's got the hammer down, certainly escaped from Michael Cooper, but now he's
pole in the AM class. Gallagher, ooh, great track awareness by Mullen.
Big time, big championship awareness as well.
Yep, he turned in, it was going to be contact, and now it settles a little bit. And we saw the issue with the number 51 Panos. What's the team saying, Ryan?
They believe that there was a part failure, but they weren't sure. Roman DeAngelo specifically wasn't sure. They were watching our footage, and when we zoomed in on it, they thought they identified the same thing that you guys did, but without getting the car back here, they can't make a full diagnosis of the situation. Right now, the car is behind the wall, kind of on the infield side, out there on the course, so they're not going to have a chance to take a look at it until the race is over. Talking to Parker Chase, he was disappointed, of course, but he still was smiling. They, of course, got that win yesterday, and he said, yeah, it's bittersweet, but still a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were impressive in yesterday's run. But look at this now, Gallagher. Well, I'll tell you, he is just ferocious and is up on the wheel going after that 47 of Jason Hart. And for the opportunity, like you've talked about, Cal, with the car that they're battling with in terms of the points championship, absent, I'd sure like to be getting a lot higher points than sitting in 7th in their class right now. Could be 8th here if Gallagher gets through. The one thing they have in their quiver, if you will, is that when they do the driver changes to the AM drivers, Matt Travis is one of the better of the AM drivers, and Gallagher gets down to the inside. And look at that. You can see Hart was going to square up, try and come back underneath him, and Gallagher just shallowed his exit up enough. Hart couldn't get that nose inside.
As he buried underneath the trunk lid there of that Aston Martin, looks to the inside, brakes super late here with the elevation change, tucks it to the inside. Gallagher just has to go with him, doesn't have enough time to cut around him again. Nice move there by Jason Hart.
Saw a little rotation from the back of Jason's car. I think that was just rotation. I don't think there was a touch by Gallagher, but boy, it's just joyful, isn't it, to watch two drivers of this caliber, and we've seen it throughout the field so far in this race, just dueling.
Well, just the level of competition. We're looking at a team that almost won the championship last year, had the points lead until yesterday, and they're now fighting for 8th position. So
yeah.
That's just the depth that we have in this Sprintx formula.
Colin Mullen, obviously leaders in silver category points, sitting back in the field where he is 10th overall. I mean, this is a deep, deep field.
Davis doing a tremendous job up front. Fastest lap in the 16s at 2:16.6. No one else in this field is below a 2:17.1 right now.
That's mega.
Half a second delta.
Just look here at the 37 of Jan Halen, who is stringing together some really stout laps. Low 2:17s in sequence here.
Yeah, he's been really quick this weekend. He's busy also competing in GT3 machinery as well, so he's into a rhythm. Already done a qualifying session this morning.
Putting it in perspective, what Gallagher or what Halen, Leafouge, James are doing. Bill Oberlin just set his personal best, and it was a 2:18 flat. That's 0.8 off what some of these other guys are doing. So I think it gets back to, like you said, sometimes that River World car is just walking quick, and sometimes it's struggling. You know, impressive too are what Harry Gottsacker has been doing, because he was outside of the top 10. He was a leading in silver, but was back a bit. He has just worked his way methodically up into 6th overall, and that's a great drive by Harry. And we know his teammate Nick Whitmer, even Harry says he's been a beast this year. So that's in play.
Yeah, I think the key for him is he's got 2 cars between he and the Colin Mullen car, number 36, that runs 2nd in the silver class. But the gap between the 2 is only about 3 or 4 seconds, so that pit stop cycle will be really important. We're about 8 minutes away from that pit window opening.
Kenton Cook now has gone around Gottsacker. That's not a class position change, as Cook runs in Pro-Am, Gottsacker in silver. But nonetheless, that just, there it is. That is a car that had a fair amount of damage, and there is Harry Gottsacker. And he's got to be pretty smart about that. I mean, he would love to keep those cars as buffers, obviously, but if somebody's just really attacking on him and getting to the point where there might be some contact, he's got to just say, okay, I just got to let it go through.
Yeah, and I think for the B-Sport team, yesterday's result was a bit disappointing because they'd been on a roll, 5 consecutive podiums, really had that momentum where you think, well, they've got to score a victory here soon, but obviously the qualifying drama and then the technical issue yesterday has put them on the back foot.
There's Jason Hart, and again, Gallagher just absolutely filling his mirrors at this stage. And Jan Halen has made the move on Lefoge. That moves him up now into 3rd overall, 3rd in Pro-Am.
See him immediately take that middle of the road approach to turn 12, because the BMW certainly got good pace down the straightaways. He didn't want to allow Greg to come back at him there.
That RS1 Porsche.
Just to put it in perspective, they come in here with a 7-point deficit, the 47 Nola Sport car.
What a move, speaking of which, by Hart.
Yeah, and you know, to score 7 points, they need to finish in the top 6. And right now, Hart is running in 7s. Well, that was tight.
That was very close. Gallagher got squeezed more than he thought and had to get on that curb and loosen that Aston Martin up, and he just somehow missed. The car sliding, getting into the side of Gottsacker, who I think opened the wheel up.
Well, I think Patrick's just showing a lot of patience and you know, really discipline here. And you know, you got guys in championship contention. You don't want to really, I know they've had a couple of weekends where things haven't gone their way, so they're looking for results, but don't ruin someone's championship season by getting too aggressive.
Yeah, that's a good point. And let's keep in mind that you need to leave something left inside those tires for the guy who's going to be taking over and driving half the race. And so as much as you may think, well, I could make up in a lot more spots here, as you put it, if you leave your co-driver a steaming lump, it's not much fun for them.
Yeah, you can look like a hero, and then your co-driver's got nothing to work with. So, yeah, so there's no tire change. Oh, big move there by Gallagher. Sticks it down the inside, uses the curb. Harry makes a smart and wise move there with the lead in this racing class. But look right behind him now. That's allowed the Andretti Autosport McLaren, the Window World machine of Colin Mullen, to really close in, and that then becomes a battle for class lead.
That's why Harry was fighting so hard to keep 1 or 2 of those Pro-Am cars in between here. There's Cooper. And that bright, I guess it's not bright blue, it's vivid blue, let's put it that way. Flying Lizard McLaren with Matt Siljehaug and the crossbow right behind him. And then continuing, very impressive Russell Walker in that Nola Sport number 46.
Yeah, as you said, started from the pole. Really good race here. Anderson has gotten away, and Zach Anderson continuing to impress with really solid performances, mixing it up with drivers with a lot more experience.
That duo, it's father-son in that orange and black McLaren. Family company, family-run company, PaveCon on the side of the car, but they're doing a great job here right now.
The crossbow really nimble through this tight stadium section here. McLaren should be pretty good through this High-speed sweeping section here. Kozrov continuing to impress. Talked yesterday, Greg, about the Reardon Racing Group making the move to the Aston Martin platform, and with the lockdown and lack of testing in the early season races, bar the opening rounds here, it's taken them a while to get their head wrapped around it, but now really showing some great pace.
Yeah, that you could see it starting to really come to good form. And then, unfortunately for them, I mean, they'd be farther up the order for sure here. They had that 10-place grid penalty that they had to fulfill due to incident responsibility at Road America. Not for Vesco, for co-driver Jeff Burton. So Vesco doing what he can to bring it up and hand it over to Burton. Be able to bring it home. Burton, one of those really quick AM drivers.
Again, when we talk about the depth, Kozarov is running 9th, and he's had to make moves to get there.
Yes. It's just impressive how deep this field is. And I mean, you think about it. I mean, look at the names: Davis, James, Halen, Leafouge, Oberlin, Cook, Hart, Gallagher. I mean, that's the sharp end of things here, and there's more of them that are just buried a little bit deep in the field at this stage. But what a run Andrew Davis is putting on here, up over 3 seconds now clear of Ian James.
Yeah, continue to run lap times in the low 2:17 range, so certainly impressive. Just 3/4 of a second off his personal best and the fastest lap of this race.
You see that rotation under braking by Hart. Back end just started to step out. It's a beautiful save.
He's pushing hard. I think they'll be frustrated if they can't quite sneak the championship lead here today with their championship leaders not in contention. Again, they need a top 6 finish to grab the lead tonight.
And currently sit 7th. Meanwhile, there's this battle for the lead in silver behind these guys. There's Hart, and then there's Gallagher, and then it's the next 2 cars in line that are battling for that silver category. There's Harry Gottsacker and the ST Racing GPI Biotech machine. And there is the McLaren.
You got to feel that ST Racing team will be pretty conservative with their pit stop. They made the mistake yesterday. When they served their penalty, they incorporated the joker 1 second time. You're allowed a 1 second joker time, as they call it, to be beneath. It's 82 seconds that you have to be on pit lane for to get the car into its pit box, get the driver change done. And if you're underneath that by 1 second, you're allowed to do that just once per weekend. So they don't have that to play with today. And that could be a factor for Andretti Autosport to try and take advantage of that if they're running really close when they come to pit lane.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Look at Kent Cook. He is just relentless.
Problem with those S's, and if you get somebody who's really just using a lot more real estate, it's hard for the driver in front to recognize that as Kenton Cook puts it down to the inside. Oberlin doesn't give it to him. Now he's a little bit out of sync. Kenton Cook get the acceleration climb down towards the brake zone. Oberlin under attack here big time.
It's a matter of going down to the inside, and the problem is you attack going into 11, you can be slow out. Ooh, Bill though, way wide. Getting a little bit wide as well.
And that's a tough one for the stewards. I've seen drivers who have done that consistently here throughout a whole race to defend by just opening up their hands and accelerating off. If Bill continues to do it to defend, they may start to make a call.
Well, the thing is that if the other driver is doing what they were told to do by rule, and pinching that exit a little bit, they're taking more out of their tires, they're doing all of that, trying to follow the rules. And Cook to the outside now.
He's just hanging on, isn't he?
Oh, and he's wide there. Really went out wide there. Just, it looks like that car just does not want to turn.
Yeah, looks like they made a swing at it with the setup for today, and it's just not working.
Yeah, you can see the car sliding, and now Cook down to the inside.
Bill's going to have to give it to him. He's going to try and go back on the attack, but he's too far back. Game over, I think.
All right, just a quick bit of perspective as the pit window opens. Kenton Cook started about 20th. He's 5th in this field.
Yeah, you expect him to stay out and try and use up this pit window, which is for 10 minutes. So by the time that clock looks at 25 minutes to go, you better be on pit lane or have already done your pit stop.
Well, and he couldn't have timed that better. He got clear of Oberlin, and when he look at this tails away here. Well, there's a fair margin now where he's got some open track, so he can really set sail here and try and set up Brian Putt. As into the pits comes Colin Mullen. There is Jared Andretti about to get on board. And one of the things just wanted to mention about this car is you take a look on the right underneath the windows. There's a graphic there that says "Check it for Andretti," and we've talked about that a bit, and we will again. But they're also carrying a very special decal. Since this is September, we just had September 11th. Colin's dad, Dan, had a cousin, Michael Mullen, who was a firefighter in the 9/11 attacks, and there's a sticker they're carrying on that car in his memory as a reminder of who the real heroes are. And of course, check it for Andretti. Jared's dad, John, passing away from colon cancer in January, and that was a foundation that they created to raise awareness of early cancer screening. So that's a very special place on that car, and to put that decal honoring basically Jared's uncle, that's pretty special.
It truly is. John was a great racer, and he's sorely missed in our paddock. I should have co-driven with John once at Riverside, but unfortunately the car blew up in the warm-up, so we didn't actually compete, but still had a good weekend with him. As we see, the minimum pit stop delta of 82 seconds. They're just 6/10 out of that, so nice execution here by Andretti Autosport. Now it's all going to be about Jared Andretti's outlap. We know he gets up on the wheel early, and also Harry Gottsacker's in-lap in terms of that battle for the silver class position and the championship points as well.
And there's the McLarens. We got a few of them running in the field today, and there's the number 63 Ginetta from Dexter Racing. And looking at those tires, because if those tires are in decent shape, the longer this race goes, the faster that car will get relative to everybody else. I want to make sure that it was Colin's dad, Dan, that I was talking about. Michael Mullen is the cousin that he had, but the Andretti family honoring them as well. It's pretty special stuff. This little scrap continues here as Cooper stays out, chased hard by Russell, Walker, and Siljehaug. A little long in that exchange from John Miller to Samantha Tan, Cal.
Yeah, 4.2 seconds outside the minimum, so that's not the best. That's going to cost them a little bit. They're running fourth in the championship right now, so lots to play for. Just trying to keep it close heading into the final rounds at Indianapolis. Only 2 Sprintx races this weekend, no triple header for them, so this is their final action of the weekend.
Keeping an eye on the stops. That Dexter stop. They may have had some sort of an issue there. And Dexter has now, they're out, so back on track. Oh, out of the car is the report we get. You can see him down and looking, and that'll be immensely frustrating.
Yeah, I thought they were just sort of like looking at tire wear. There's obviously something amiss with the suspension, I assume.
This is a fun little battle here with these drivers that are staying out and going after it.
Yeah, Michael Cooper's been in the thick of the action here this afternoon. Someone who's pretty much dominating the Sprint GT4 competition this year. 9th victory yesterday, and not impossible for him to seal the deal and clinch here this afternoon, even though there'll be 3 rounds remaining. Another race tomorrow, then the doubleheader at Indianapolis in 2 weeks.
Just wondering, with that Dexter Racing entry, they had talked to us after the race yesterday, said they were getting some serious over temp issues in the tires on that car, and they did have a little bump with the number 25 BMW, and I wonder what the issue is. We're getting a report now it's broken suspension, so that might be left over from that little bump yesterday. You never know how things will kind of rattle through a car.
Real key here, you look at pit window is halfway through now, so some of these drivers 2 or 3 laps maximum to get this car on at pit lane. But typically you're going to find with the driver lineups here, unless you've got a silver lineup like Algani and Mads Siljehaug, we're really just trying to factor in will you come out in traffic or if you got bottled up in traffic as to when you do your pit stop. But typically you're going to keep that pro in as long as possible and maximize their speed.
Obviously, Siljehaug, I think he stayed out because they found themselves with a bunch of clear track where that car could really fly. And they are now into the pits. I believe that's Chandler or Toby Grahovic bringing in the classic BMW entry behind them.
It's the unique setup with the crossbow. Completely lift the front cockpit section up to do the driver change. As we said, this team, a pair of drivers, have had 3 victories in the summer and they've been really, really quick with this 2020 crossbow. You can see it doesn't have a rear wing any longer. We just really try to take some of the downforce away and make it more raceable with the other GT4 machinery.
Down goes that unique bonnet. We would think at the end of this lap we'll start to see
Gottsack is in.
Everybody else come in. There he goes. Little long.
Yeah, as you would expect. They couldn't afford to cut it close, but they left almost 4 seconds on the board, and there is Jared Andretti in front. So that was the real deal there. And I think they probably played it too conservatively. If they'd kind of halved that margin, maybe left 2 seconds on the table, they could have kept and maintained the lead in class.
And this is big here as Gallagher now has gone around Jason Hart, and that is going to push Hart back to 7th. Excuse me, to 8th in class, as Gallagher will take that 7th spot away. And this is not what this NOLA Sport team wanted to see developing here.
No, it's going to tighten up the point, but certainly not give them a championship lead or advantage unless they can improve here when Matt Travis gets behind the wheel.
All right, Andrew Davis in. He's going to hop out of that Frost NYC GMG racing car, and on board will go Jason Bell. Interestingly, Gallagher opted to stay out, as did Arvelin, for one more lap.
Oberlin dived in, Greg.
He did do it, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. And
Gallagher
Kozrov did as well.
Yeah, I think Gallagher did stay out. He'll have to be in this next one.
Here's Leia Foge. What a driver he is, getting out of that Cameron Racing Products BMW.
Yeah, and I think for these drivers, when you have a Bill Oberlin, just such a legend in sports car racing, make this move to GT4 tight.
Yes.
To GT4 competition. Yeah, they've had some victories, but also for guys like Greg Leafouche, when he's running basically the same platform, when you can battle Bill Oberlin and pass him, that is really a feather in your cap.
It is.
You know,
even truly is.
Even if they're having a little bit of an off day.
Yep. And Leafouche and Sean Quinlan had just a stunning run. The second half of the season last year.
Couple of cars underneath the minimum, but they've got that 1 second delta to work with, the Joker time. So Grahovic to Chandler Hull, 81.5, and Andrew Davis, our leader, coming into Jason Bell, 81.8. So I believe they are good. I don't think they used up their jokers yesterday.
All right.
So they're just really kind of close to trying to maximize that advantage they had when Andrew hit pit lane.
Now this should be tasty here. Jared Andretti and Nick Whitmer.
Yeah, Whitmer's got to put it all on the line. He's been so quick this weekend, really dominated the early phases yesterday, and looked to be doing everything right until they just got underneath that minimum pit stop time. Drive through plus a hold. Dropped them way down the order. We said it was like a 17-point swing, which should have been an 8-point lead in the championship, became a 9-point deficit.
Yeah, boy, both of these guys are hard-nosed, aggressive, and wickedly quick drivers.
Yeah, I think Nick has just got to pick his moment here, because Jarrett's not going to give it up easy.
Tells you how hard Jarrett's working, dropping right side tires.
He's comfortable being in the dirt.
Well, that's true. That's just the cushion. You can get any of these other stops here. Kent Cook now is in. Gallagher's in. That'll be Charlie Belluardo. That'll be crawling behind the wheel, and Matt Dalton behind. And that Bellhaven Investments, not Lad Racing by RS1 Aston Martin. So this will be a good one. Jason Hart in as well, so huge implications there. Look at this. Andretti has to go big defensive down into 12. Oh, and he's going to run way wide. So does Nick, though.
Yeah, just really barreled it in there.
Yeah.
ABS would have been kicking in.
Oh, but Jarrett's
right. He's really wide, but Whitmer can quite clear him, and now he's kind of boxed out a little bit. Andretti's going to be really slow off this corner.
This is a chess match, isn't it?
Nick just has to be patient.
Yeah.
You know, if he feels he's got the advantage, just really pick your moments here.
Ooh, really clouded that curb on an 18.
He's trying to set him up here to get a run. Big roll through 19. Jarrett's up to the task. He sees that he keeps Whitmer out on the curbing. Whitmer on the power a little bit earlier. It's going to be a big run here down this front stretch.
BMW is strong. Here comes Matt Travis out. He's in front of the Cameron car. He's in front of Walker in the Bimmer World car. Nick working the outside up at the top here. Andretti covers that.
Andretti's got a lot of time to work with to try and hold on to this lead in class.
Yeah, this is just remarkable stuff here. Boy, Kent Cook turning to Brian Putt. They left 2.5 seconds after that great drive. You hate to see that kind of thing happen, but Gallagher to Dalton, a massive overrun here. That's unfortunate.
14 seconds outside. Jason Hart to Matt Travis. That was a good one, just half a second outside, so that's good stuff. Our championship contenders.
Whitmer, second lap in a row. He's taking a face full of dirt from Andretti as they come through turn 6, 7, and 8.
Just wait for everything to cycle through on timing and then scoring to give you some updates there in terms of class position and how it's going to affect the championships.
All right, this is going to be interesting. This is where both of them badly overran turn 12. Whitmer cuts back over here, and what he needs to do is get Andretti to do the same thing and not run wide by Whitmer, be able to come up underneath, and this time Andretti, he's able to control it a little bit better there as well. Nick rolling to the inside here. Can he close the deal?
Yeah, what a chess match this has become.
Phenomenal.
Jarrett is just really, really hard. I mean, he puts it all on the line. He will not give you half an inch. You've got to earn that pass. He's working the outside. That is beautiful stuff. And then he just gives Andretti a lane. That is good, clean racing by both of these guys. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, that was just superb. Great respect between those guys. I mean, they fought as hard as you can fight, but it was clean. Ooh, but Nick, little wobble there, and that's going to give Andretti a little run.
Big run. Nick needs to defend that inside line. Takes the pressure off Whitmer a little bit, allows him to at least get a little bit of turn-in room to get off this corner.
Nick adjusted really well. With Andretti moving out like that, Nick made sure he didn't run wide and allow Andretti to cut underneath, did he? He adjusted beautifully. Yeah,
and I think Jared Andretti, by opting to go for that right-hand lane, that really took the pressure off. It didn't make him crouch that corner any further and allowed him to get through. There was some good minimal speed.
Well, things have cycled a little bit right now. Jason Bell in the number 2 GMG Racing Frost NYC Porsche out front by 8 seconds over Charlie Belluardo in the number 37 RS1 Porsche. Then Brian Putt is another 7 seconds back in the Aries B Sport Racing Aston Martin. Then Keegan in the number 50 Panos. And then the 47 of Travis. That's your top 5 right now.
And that's enough to give Travis and Hart the championship lead tonight. But you know he's going to keep digging for more.
Yeah, he's got Quinlan and Walker, and they're not far behind him. And then this Whitmer-Andretti battle. There's your leader, Jason Bell.
I think for Travis, though, he's focused forward. He's looking at that Panos of Matt Keegan. But again, you got to factor in Matt Keegan is not here for the championship. Came off a Sprintx AM championship win last year with Preston Calvert aboard this car. But he's just out to have fun and climb on the podium here today. So he's not going to give him an inch.
This is going to be interesting here. Matt Keegan is an awfully quick AM driver. So is Travis. Brian Putt in his first season driving GT4 equipment after having run TCR last year, and prior to that having done just club racing in SCCA P1 prototypes, they're called. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see Brian, if he can withstand the charge of a few very talented AM drivers that are behind him.
Yeah, and I think for Matt Travis and Jason Hart, they'll be happy with the start of this race. If they can suddenly get around these two cars and climb on the podium, that will still be a great day for them.
Yes.
P3 is way different from P6, 7, and 8 than they initially had in this race in terms of the championship climb.
Absolutely.
Oh, Keegan's wide. Just missed his mark there a little bit. Travis tries to take advantage. He'll be side by side through turn 3.
Wow. He flowed some speed, Travis did. And I talked about it yesterday, but his opportunistic pass on Dynan and Andretti in turn 13 and 14 at Road America in that third race there was just special stuff. He said, I knew it was risky, but we had to do it.
Oh, and he loses it. He loses it, just pushed way too hard there, trying to close in on the back of Putt.
Oh boy.
Big moment in this championship again. What drama here.
That was the same spot that Hart looped it yesterday, wasn't it?
I think Hart's spin was coming off the final corner. We saw, seen other cars have moments here through this sector. Look at him push.
I thought, I mean, Hart got passed by Halen in that last corner, but I thought his spin was in the S's. But nonetheless, yeah, that's huge. That is just massive. And boy, Nick Whitmer, so lucky not to get into him. Whitmer had opened up that margin a bit over Andretti. There's Whitmer with that flashing green on the windshield, and you can see he's got room now back to Andretti.
Just laid down his fastest lap of the race, so you've got to be careful here. These cars that he's attacking right now are not for class position. He has the silver class lead, and Andretti's a couple of cars back now, is running in second, so but he can't afford to just be stymied by those cars, because otherwise Andretti will be right there again.
I think that's why he wanted to get a couple of those Pro-Am cars between himself and Andretti here. And now he's got a little bit of clear track while Andretti's going to be bottled up behind him. Nick comes from a hockey playing family, so close quarters, elbows up stuff, comfortable territory for him.
Andretti Autosport continued to execute. Just good strategy. Got him in early in case there's a yellow. They would have been able to take advantage of that. Really good clean stop, right on the number within half a second. So they're doing everything to keep the pressure on and try and maintain that championship lead.
James Walker looking to try and get down to the inside of Quinlan. Wasn't able to do it, and it actually stymied a potential move by Andretti as well when he suddenly went to protect like that.
And that's a battle for position between Quinlan and Walker Jr. there for fifth. So Andretti splits them. That's where it gets tricky through these S's when there's so much curb to be used. Just recognizing where the competitor is when he's on your flank, and you kind of lose him in the mirrors a little bit.
Love that sequence. 8-9 and now through this kink.
Quinlan got off turn 8 really well.
Yes, he did.
Bobble there on the brakes, just hard on the brakes. See the car moving around and dancing a little bit.
Ooh, Walker, big slide. He went to the throttle, wanted to get a run here, and that cost him. Let's go back and take a look here at how Andretti made this move, because Walker went there to protect just a little bit, and then thought, well, maybe I can get down underneath Quinlan and look at Andretti.
Walker was trying to give Quinlan plenty of room there, and Andretti took advantage around the outside.
Travis now trying to close down on these guys. Andretti, nice move there.
I think Andretti has to be in championship mode as well.
Yes.
Okay, they're not going to win this one, and if the 28 car ST Racing BMW continues to run as they're doing, but still a big points day.
I think that was a smart move by Quinlan. One, he knew it wasn't a car in his class. Two, he knew it was Andretti, who's aggressive and in a real points battle. I think he just left that wheel open a little bit and said, yeah, I don't need you behind me. Go through.
Right.
All right, well, Keegan now has been able to get around on Putt. So that will move Keegan up into third overall. Top 4 are all Pro-Am cars right now. Keegan is third, Putt back to fourth, and right behind Putt, here comes Whitmer.
Yeah, a few cars have been warned for track limits, including Brian Putt, and the Andretti Autosport car was also warned for track limits prior to getting past for the lead there with Whitmer. So everyone is being kept certainly in check without getting too far out of bounds here, but it's a tough, long day for the stewards to really police this.
You may have just said this, but the number 7, which is the now champion in the AM category, might be getting a drive-through for potential contact. Keep an eye out on that. Keegan doing everything he can. He has the bit here, and he's just down to the inside already.
Yeah, he's been flying. And there we see the 7 serving its penalty. So Whitmer well on his way here, looking for that class win here today, but really a question of what might have been. Sweeping this weekend would have been massive in the points.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And here for the 7, that drive-through, the top 3 AM cars were line astern pretty much on the track, so they're going to drop back 4th, I think, in the AM category. That's John Miller.
Technical issue here, maybe a front left.
Looks like that's where the concern is.
Something's loose. Either the wheel is loose or the suspension is broken.
Now Andretti starting to work over Brian Putt.
That's the fascinating thing with this class overlap, and when you get the driver exchange happen, comes a new race.
Yes, completely.
Love this corner, sweeping out of here, downhill. There's a beautiful rhythm to it in terms of the timing of everything. It's not awkward, it just flows.
Yes, yes. And for Brian here, I think that letting Andretti through, he didn't make that difficult. Now he can try and follow him. Maybe that'll bring him back up a little bit closer to Keegan. Up front, it's still Bell leading. He stretched it to almost 12 seconds over Belluardo. Then Whitmer, then Keegan.
Yeah, so for Putt, he needs to really try and regroup here and get the hammer down, see if he can chase after Matt Keegan, because they're looking for another podium run. As we mentioned, came into this weekend with 5 consecutive podiums, and then the technical issue yesterday with the ruptured cooler.
And Travis now has closed that margin up. He is all over the back of Quinlan. This is the battle for 6th in Pro-Am. We talked about those points, Cal.
There's enough time on the board. He could probably get all the way back up to, I don't think he's going to catch Keegan, but he might be able to get to Brian Putt here. If he can expedite these passes around Quinlan and Walker.
Lost just a little bit of ground there. Behind him, Burton has got a strong run going.
Yeah, and he's been running really fast lap times, so that could be a major issue for Matt Travis. I don't think Jeff Burton's going to be worrying about the championship position. He's just going to go on the attack. And here's the ST Racing number 38. Like the whole corner was loose there. Bottom A-arm is being attended to.
Crew working on it as best they can. Go back here to this important scrap. There is James Walker Jr. in the Redline Old Bimmer World BMW. Behind him, the Stephen Cameron Race Products Bimmer World or BMW of Quinlan. And look at Travis now attacking in that Fess Energy NOLA Sport car. There's Whitmer up to 3rd overall.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. Probably going to catch Belluardo. I think Bell may be just out of reach for the overall win. Jason Bell done a nice job up front, maintaining a healthy lead. Running lap times equal to Belluardo, who's in chase.
As you say that, Belluardo found a clean piece of racetrack and really stuck a lap in there. 120.8. takes a little bit of that back.
Yeah, 11-second gap, 9 minutes on the board, so I think Jason is safe. He's just got to keep it clean. You know that Andrew Davis will be on the radio just talking him through this final 10 minutes of this race just to bring him home. What a day that would be for them. I've got a feeling that Jason Bell likes to celebrate.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right. And this would be a big one in Sprintx overall. And do it with Bell doing the defending at the end. That's pretty cool stuff.
Travis has really got to be careful here that Jeff doesn't make a big move. Looks to the outside. That's going to be really tight. I think that's really got Matt off his game a little bit. Look at Quinlan has just leapt away a little bit. Not the dynamic that Travis wanted to try and fight back to the front here with.
No. And I think him giving that huge bit of space there, you know, when you're gained the reputation of being an intimidating, go for it, contact, if there's going to be contact, there's going to be contact driver, and I think Burton has that kind of image right now a little bit, is that he's going to go for it. There's no question about it, and that can work in your favor at times because somebody gives you that little bit of extra room, and then you can just squeeze on through.
Yeah, think of people over the years, the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, Senna with the bright yellow helmet, Michael Andretti, same thing. You know if there's a gap, they're gonna try and plug it, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. James Hunt. Oh, this is a good little battle though. Walker, Quinlan, Travis, Burton.
Now is the time. Now's the time for Travis. He's got the gap over Burton, so the pressure is off. He can focus forward here for a few corners. He needs to try and get around Quinlan as quickly as possible and create a little bit of buffer between he and the potentially faster Aston Martin behind him.
Boy, Burton closed them down in a huge hurry, though.
Yeah, as I said, he needs to do it quickly.
Yeah. I reiterate. The problem is that BMW is really good in a straight line. The Porsche gets through some of the turns a little bit more effectively. The Aston Martin just seems to be not the best in anything, but very good all around. The problem is that as soon as he starts attacking, I'm talking about Burton, then Travis's focus goes to the mirrors, and then he loses touch with Quinlan. Michael McAleenan now leading in the Motorsport USA, #3 McLaren, and they sat on pole in this class yesterday. He and Dan Rogers, that's the Smith Ailing, Herbal Dreams, and Kidder Matthews entry. And with that drive-through, they now find themselves in the lead with the #46 NOLA Sport car of David Walker, the PaveCon entry, sitting second in AM, then Gibbons.
Yeah, as you said, the drive-through penalty for the 7 car has put everyone up a notch, and Gibbons continues to fight. Got a lot of work to do, though, to try and catch A. Walker and then the leader, McAleenan, right now.
And Whitmer now, as you can see, closing up really quickly on Belluardo. And this is be a little frustrating for Belluardo. I mean, he had turned some really quick laps relative to Bell, but there wasn't enough. He was going to need more to make up that 11-second deficit. And he's only got 5 minutes or so to do it. I think the way that Whitmer's running is let him through.
Yeah, just don't fight it. You've got a great result going. Ian Haler did a brilliant job, as you expect from him, with his experience and ability to get the car towards the sharp end, and Charlie's just got to bring it home now and consolidate that podium run.
The margin between Whitmer and Andretti, and there it is. Belluardo, Whitmer slices to the inside, and he doesn't fight it one bit. It's about 5.7 seconds. Last time, Whitmer to Andretti. So Whitmer can't let up too much here in these final 5 minutes. What is it this time now?
It's about the same.
About the same, yep.
Yep. So I think he's got it well under control. So now there's a massive gap of 11 seconds to our overall leader and leader in Pro-Am, Jason Bell.
And Walker has been able to drive away again from Quinlan.
Good job by James Walker here, because we know the car wasn't probably at its sharpest based on what Bill was able to do with it in the first stint.
I'll tell you this, if Travis can get around Quinlan in terms of those points.
Yeah, well, he needs it.
Yeah.
Top 6 will give him the lead by 1 point. Running where he is right now, they'd still trail by 1 point. There's only 2 rounds left at Indianapolis in 2 weeks' time, so certainly setting up for a nice finale for us.
Yeah.
Going to be plenty on the line.
The thing is, Travis right now just cannot focus purely on attacking Quinlan. He's always got to have an eye on what Burton's doing. They got some traffic that they're coming up on. And that group's quickly catching Brian Putt, too, at this stage. Or at least Walker is.
Yeah, Burton kind of nosed it down to the inside of turn 11 there, but just really stayed on the brakes and consequently lost a little bit of ground coming off that corner.
On a spin by Dalton. All right. Gets it restarted. And continues on. That was the exit of 9, I think.
Yeah, right in front of Aaron Vogel. He handles that nicely. Oh, Dalton in trouble. He's deep on the brakes. Just missed his braking point a little bit there. Trying to recover.
This is the move if he can make it stick.
This is for the championship lead tonight.
He's got the inside now as they head into 15 or 16, now 17, and he's through.
Look at Walker. He's a little bit down the road now, so a lot of work to do now for Travis to try and regroup here and go chase.
Yeah, Walker's down the road, and he's also now put Chandler Hull between himself and Travis with just under 3 minutes to go in this one. Now I'm sure Burton is going to attack on Quinlan, and that might give Travis the ability to just really focus forward here. Travis deep on the brakes up into 1. You can see that Porsche squirming.
He's going to give it everything. He's got a couple of laps to work with, it looks like. See if he can chase James down and put the pressure on.
Up front, Bell now 8.5 seconds over Whitmer. And a bigger chunk back to Belluardo.
It's going to tighten up. I think Whitmer's probably going to come up about 3 or 4 seconds shy of the overall win.
You like the overall, but they've got to really be thinking big picture here. Throw it away trying to do that. He's still got that 6 or so second margin over Andretti. And again, McAleenan leading an AM. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say the AM championship was clinched yesterday, but as they run right now, it would be a 1-point margin in the Pro-Am class going to Indianapolis and a 2-point margin in silver.
Incredibly close stuff. There's the GMG Racing Brain Trust sitting up on top, watching Jason Bell, who has done an absolutely superb job. Andrew Davis was brilliant as he is, but you know, when you bring the car in the lead and turn it over to your AM driver, that's a huge pressure cooker for an AM driver, and Bell has just been superb.
Yeah, and now he's just got to stay focused here. We've been really impressed with his driving. He's been such a busy racer over the last few weekends, typically running 8 rounds of competition. This weekend he's running 7 with the Sprintx competition we're in right now, and then the GT Sports Club with his Porsche GT2 machine. 1 lap to go to hang on to it.
White flag is out. There is Whitmer. There's James. Savrona's going, yeah, this is looking good. Whitmer comes through. About 6.5 back. Again, not for class. Then here comes Belluardo and Andretti, so you can see the margin. Whitmer has this under control, just has to bring it home.
Travis is really close to Walker. They came across the line there. Travis within a couple of tenths of James Walker for that critical position. Battle for P5.
Yeah, behind this group.
Belluardo hanging on here. I think if Andretti gets to him, he's got to just give it up and Look at the backdrop. Travis has gotten around Walker. Probably a big move up into turn 1. Now Walker's behind a little bit in terms of the rhythm through the S's. So this is huge. Huge for Matt Travis.
Getting through and then have Walker overdriving it just a little bit has given Travis enough room. He doesn't have to worry about a counterpunch. All right, watch this pass here, just down to the inside 1.
Yeah, must have gotten a good exit out of the final corner there, and nothing that James could do about it. So that's huge. Should give them a 3-point margin in the championship at the checkered flag this afternoon.
And he's closing on putt. There's some twisty stuff coming up here. Ooh, a little wide there. Travis was at the apex at 11.
I think at the end of the day, I mean, they've given up some points with that quick spin, but certainly good recovery.
So Andretti moving up to 3rd overall, still 2nd in the silver category, so not a class position pass, just an overall. Look at this now, it's Quinlan making the big move on Walker. Walker defends massively. And now Travis has his eyes set. He's got just a few more corners to see if he can do anything with putt. It would be remarkable if he can, but he's done remarkable this season already.
This is going to get tasty here. Last few corners here. This battle for what is now 6th in class.
But out of the last turn, Global Motorsports Group, Jason Bell, Andrew Davis, and Porsche winning at Circuit of the Americas in that Frost NYC GMG racing car. Here comes Nick Whitmer, a hugely critical win in silver. Andretti comes home 2nd in the silver category, then Belluardo 2nd in Pro-Am, and here we go. Last turn, looks like putt just enough in front of
that was
Travis.
Tight, almost runs over the top of Quinlan through the final corner as Quinlan was trying to set up James Walker on the exit.
And in that all-important points battle run, Travis not getting close enough to putt to try anything. The margin between those two at the line, 9/10 of a second. But I'll tell you, Travis able to dig deep and get a couple of spots. That's huge in terms of the points. And for Walker Jr., he and Bill are down a little bit in the points. But I was very impressed with James Walker's drive. As you said, that car didn't look super strong. And he was able to carry some real pace with it here. And here's going to be your winner in the AM category, the number 3 Motorsports USA McLaren, started by Dan Rogers, Michael McAleenan bringing it home for the win in the AM category. The number 46 NOLA Sport Pavecon Porsche of David and Russell Walker should be 2nd, and no surprise with that drive he put in early, the crowd strike. Fastest lap goes to Andrew Davis in that number 2 GMG Racing Porsche, a 2-minute 16.672 lap. That was a couple of tenths faster than anybody else was able to put in during the race. So nice job by Andrew Davis, as you would expect.
Yeah, just grabbed that pole position with Patrick Gallagher getting thrown out there with that slightly lower ride height after post-race qualifying inspection. So that really set up the day for Andrew Davis. Who knows what sort of different dynamic we would have seen if Patrick Gallagher had started on that front row and given Andrew Davis a bit more of a hard time. But nonetheless, dominant performance by Andrew Davis. And congratulations to Jason Bell. Superb control drive there.
Yeah, it truly was. And coming in here, this is the 4th podium they've had, a couple of them overall, but first win in the overall category or class. So nicely done as well as we take a look at the results. Whitmer with that amazing charge and winning in the silver category. Big points implications there. Andretti and Mullen 2nd in that class, 3rd overall. And then you go back to the great battle there between the end, Brian Putt and Travis and Walker and Quinlan, all with those big points implications as well. And then winning an AM, as we said, McAleenan and Rogers. We saw some great performances in that, and obviously, as we've talked about it a lot, Harry Gottsager saying Whitmer has just been a beast this year. But I don't think, to me, there's no question, maybe the drive of the season thus far was Ken Cook's, coming from 20th to 5th by the time he turned it over. In this field?
Yeah, that was a dynamic stint, that's for certain. And they keep knocking on the door, I think, with their pace. We talked about them coming in this weekend with 5 consecutive podiums. Now the top 5 here today, their time is coming.
Look at this. This is going to be a nice celebration here. What a run those guys put in. Let's take a look here at some of the highlights here of this 13th round of the Pirelli GT4 America Sprintx Championship. From the pole, Davis leading in with Bill Oberlin right there. Leia Fouge, James, Hart. What a loaded field, Cal. Got a little nasty in the back of the 71. Crosco had a bit of a moment, but gathered it up.
Yeah, mad silly how just keeps it together, but look at this opening lap, using every inch of real estate here just to try and keep it together. Kent and Cook on the move, cutting through this field remarkably.
Yeah, 4 or 5 corners in, he'd made up over 7 spots. There you can see Bill got a little crossed up, got the tap from Leia Fouge, who really didn't have much of an option here. And that just started a little drop through the field for that Bimmer World car. Then this moment here, broken right rear corner, it looked like, for the 51 Panos.
Yeah, they were on the charge one here yesterday, but from the tail end of the field, he got halfway through, and then that moment.
And then a 3, 4, 5 lap battle of this kind of racing between Cooper and Kozarov. They are two hard-nosed, go-after-it drivers. It was great to see. And then right there, after they'd done the pit stops, Matt Travis behind the wheel trying to close down and putt for, at that point, would have been knocking on the door of a top 3, got away from him. Right there, Whitmer just missing him. That was important for both those guys.
Yeah, and ultimately, right there with a couple of laps to go, Travis gets to the inside of Walker and takes away that critical top 5 spot.
But in the end, after a remarkable opening stint by Andrew Davis, a great finishing stint by Jason Bell, and Frost NYC GMG Racing Porsche coming home with their first win of the season, and they made it an overall win to boot. So that's impressive stuff. As a look at, I just love the lines, I always have, of this Esperani Abizano.
Great to see it back.
It is. It's great. We certainly missed him with the great support this season. That's helped this program come together by Galaxy Trade and Technology. But it's time to celebrate some winners, Ryan.
Well, how about it? Jason Bell, we think, is this your first overall win? Is that right?
Yes.
Well, man, you got handed the lead, but you had to hold on. How long was that stint? How stressful was it trying to keep this Porsche out front?
You know, at the beginning, we got in the pits and out really good. So Andrew brought it in good. We got out. I was looking back, so I seen we had a little bit. But the first thing I did was just go out and just 100% started running, and I think I got a good gap from doing that. And then as it went on, I started realizing that pit stops were finished and nobody was behind me. So at that point, I just focused. And at the end, with 3 to go, I started worrying because I'm like, something's going to break. I'm going to make a mistake. And I just didn't. So it's great. It's awesome.
It was indeed a great performance from you. We'll let you step to the side. We'll bring Andrew Davis, your longtime coach and co-driver, into the mix. This is a really ambitious program that Jason's put together, racing as many as 8 races in a weekend sometimes. Seeing his development and now capping that off with a win. As a coach, right, that's got to be a pretty special feeling for you.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. You know, there's no questioning Jason's commitment to the sport, to the series, and just the craft of racing cars. So, you know, I've been very honored that he asked me to come along and coach and drive with him. And I got to say, the GMG crew just did such a phenomenal job getting us just a phenomenal Porsche Cayman out there. Chris Andrews and all the guys worked so hard. And, you know, I knew what I had to do. I had to win that drag race to turn 1. Finally got the jump at the start. I've been on the front row a few times this year, but I just can't quite get past that 82 car to turn 1. And I just hammered down and tried to build the biggest gap for Jason. It was a lot of fun. I'm really proud of the team. Full team effort.
Mission accomplished today. Congrats.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it was an opening stint, and that, I mean, fast lap was just a mega lap in that race that he put together. And you take a look here, this is the Pro-Am category provisional results. What a lineup. You know, you take a look at these cars, Cal, it's just unbelievable. And the drives that were put in today, just special.
They really are, and we talk about the depth of the competition. We saw Jason Hart there, ultimately finishing 5th with his teammate Matt Travers. He was barely inside the top 10 at one point, down in 8th position, and he's a championship contender. They now have the championship lead, but it's very tight heading to Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting season finale for sure, and we got more exciting news coming from the Victory Circle area.
Yeah, we got our silver class winners. Big bounce back after the disappointment yesterday with the penalty, Nick. We talked earlier in the week, and you said it seemed like anytime you had bad luck, the Andretti guys went and won the race. That's exactly what happened yesterday.
Exactly.
So how important was this result to put you on relatively even footing going into the final 2 races?
Yeah,
in Indy?
like we've been talking about, for sure the team did an awesome job setting up the whole car all weekend. We had some bad luck yesterday. It happens, but you forget about that, think about today, and what we had to do today is put it full throttle and win this race. And the car was awesome. Harry did an amazing job giving me the car. I got in the car, it felt like a quali car, so I was like, every person I passed, I just watched them peace out in my mirror. So ciao bye, and that's the way we do it. And SC Racing and the whole crew, BMW, I mean, can't say much more of catching up all the way to top 2.
Really phenomenal drive. Congratulations,
Thank
Nick.
you.
We'll let you step over. We'll bring Harry Gottsacker in. All right, the championship battle comes down to the final round, the final 2 races at Indianapolis. What are you and the team going to be focusing on to make sure you're as prepared as possible to take the fight to Andretti Autosport?
Definitely consistency. You know, I think our game plan throughout this whole year has been pretty strong, and we're just going to try to keep doing the same thing. Hopefully we can get some good luck, and I think it's going to be a really close battle in the championship.
Congratulations on the bounce-back win today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was, and what a drive, what a car, and one of the best graphics packages in the business. Van Gogh Starry Night livery on that car. And there you see it here. I mean, Andretti kept it close in the end. 2.5 seconds adrift, but it just wasn't enough. And then way back was that number 71 Marco Polo car and the number 25. Both of them started well back in the field. And just a little bit of a difficult weekend, but what a show in front.
Yeah, it really is. And for Jared Andretti, now head to Indianapolis, the Andretti name synonymous with that speedway. And his cousin Marco put it on the pole for the 500 just a few weeks ago, and hopefully Jarrett can see similar success in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely, and we have one more winner to hear from with Ryan.
Happy winners in the AM category, that's for sure. Michael McAleenan, we'll start with you. You are a winner in Pirelli GT4 America. Congratulations. What was your race like?
Thank you. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of cars where I was, but Dan gave me the car in a good position. Car, you know, everything was ready, and so I just kept my head down and drove and passed a couple of guys, and next thing I know they tell me, you know, something happened to somebody else, so then we were in first and just kind of held it there to the end.
Great place to be, that's for sure. Congratulations on the win. We'll let you step over. We'll bring Dan Rogers in. You had the privilege of starting this race. It's always hectic at the beginning. What was it like from your vantage point?
It was a little wild because we had, you know, most of the pros were driving that race. Yep. So, and there were a few of them behind us. So yeah, it was pretty wild. Some of those guys came charging up, and it's just like, just stay clear of them and follow them, you know, and you don't win the race in the first corner for sure.
You ended up winning it in the final quarter.
Yeah,
it worked out perfectly. Congratulations on the win.
All right, thanks. And thanks you guys for putting it on.
Yeah, it was a great drive by both of those drivers, and you know, you do get breaks on occasion when something develops with competitors, but that's all part of the game. What it ends up, as you take a look at the results here, it's all about execution, and that team, they got it done today.
They did a great job. As he said, he had to keep it clean and stay out of trouble. They did that perfectly and took advantage of the drive-through penalty for the number 7 machine of Gibbons and Anderson.
So that wraps up our coverage here of this 13th round of the championship for Pirelli GT4 America Sprintx. Season finale coming up in a couple of weeks at Indianapolis. Make sure and tune in then. It should be a cracker.